Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Am's Untitled podcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the best of Percabeth in Wrath of the Triple Goddess. So, I have managed to pick out my favorite Percabeth quotes in the whole book, and I'm so excited to share them with you guys. And hopefully, as I'm sharing them, I won't start crying because I did embarrass myself last time when I did this for Chalice of the Gods. There was one quote that kind of I loved. It was my favorite quote in the whole book, and I burst into tears while recording the episode, which I'm so happy you guys cannot see. I'm happy that there's no recorded footage of it, but yeah, I'm gonna try and contain myself this time, but no promises. Um, let's do it. So the first quote we're going to be talking about is when you see someone from a distance and for a split second you don't recognize them, your brain registers, oh, that person looks amazing. Then you realize it's someone you've known for years, your girlfriend. In fact, and that sense a tingle of happiness through your body. Do you know what? I love that even after all these years, like, I love that nothing's changed. Like, he's still absolutely like besotted with her. Like, I don't think he can believe his life. Like, he doesn't believe how lucky he actually is. And I think that's just so cute. And it just, like, when I read that quote, it just made me smile because I think, comes just before we get to meet Annabeth again in this book. Yeah, and I just loved it. I thought it was a really adorable moment. And like I just love that he's a sim. Like I just adore him for that. Like it's one of the many reasons why I love Percy so much. Like he's not the shy type where he's like he knows that he's scored well and he's proud of that and I love it. It's really cute. And yeah, and my jaw's already hurting from smiling so much. Okay, let's go. The next quote is very, very beautiful, which was, she would always succeed whether I was around or not. That made me even more determined to graduate and get into college with her, even if it meant doing torturous activities like studying or reading. Now, I think I talked a little bit about this when I was reviewing this part of the book, but you know what I love about him so much is he knows how intelligent Annabeth is, and he knows that her dream is to go to university and to study further. And even though, like, I don't know how to describe it, like, even though he might not have the same goals, like, he's doing it solely for her. Like, he loves her so much, he's willing to put himself through that. And, I also think that a lot of Annabeth's success, um, I believe that she's only successful because she has Percy in her life. And do you know what? One thing I really respect about Percy, and one thing I was really thinking about when I read that quote was, I love that after all these years, how in awe he still is of her. Like, it's like they just fell in love like the other day. Like, it never feels like so many years have passed, so many books have passed. Like, it's just beautiful. And they're the sort of evergreen love that you don't really see very often in books. Um, but I just love Percy and Annabeth. Like I genuinely can't think of a more perfect couple. And when he says things like that, like he knows that she would do great with or without him, but that actually makes him more determined to be better, to be on her level so that he can make her proud and make himself worthy of standing beside her. Isn't that just so beautiful? Like when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, I was like, I just love him so much. Annabeth is really lucky, guys. Never ever settle for anything less than a Percabeth kind of love because they are just top tier, like beautiful. Anyway, the next quote was, Annabeth often told me I would make a great dad because I already had the right jokes. Stupid, corny, and stupid. Do you know what? When I read that quote, I did internally scream a little bit because I was like, oh my God, that would be the dream. Like, growing up with these books, like, obviously, I've aged over time as well. Obviously, I'm going to age. I'm a human being. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? So, growing up with these books and obviously transitioning from a kid to a teenager to an adult, like, I would love to see, like, maybe in years to come, because I don't want Rick to stop writing Percy Jackson just yet. I want to go on so many more adventures with them before he decides to wrap this up. But I really do feel like it would be nice for me, like to see them have a family. Like, I'd love to see them have kids. I'd love to know what they name them. What kind of kids would they have? Would they have boys? Would they have girls? Would they have a mixture? Like, I just want to know that they've gotten the future that they truly deserve. And I just want them to be happy and not on the run, on quests all the time. Like, I just want them to grow old together. And yeah, I really hope that Rick one day does write, even if it's like a little short story about their lives later on. I would love to read that. It would make me so emotional and it would make me feel so old. But I love it and I'd be so happy for them. And nobody deserves, like, no other couple deserves the kind of happy ending that I pray for Percy and Annabeth. So yeah, Rick, one day, if you're listening, please, just not anytime soon. I don't want this. I don't want these books to ever end. Um, I think I'll be really upset when they come to an end, but I'll be so grateful for the amazing journey I've been on with them. Anyway, sorry, went on a little bit of a tangent there. The next quote that I picked up, which was, I caught a glance from Grover. He was beaming at me like, see, Annabeth will make a great mom. Dude, I thought, one thing at a time. I'm still working on college applications. Guys, Grover is one of us. He is a shipper. He wants to see them have a family as well. And I love that he looks at Percy. Like, he could have said that, but Percy knows what he means just by his look. And, obviously Grover, like, has been with them from when they were just acquaintances, strangers, whatever you want to call it. And he's seen this entire journey the same way that we have. And yeah, I think he wants them to have a happy ending too. And it was so sweet. And I just love that quote. I think it's one of my favorites in the whole book. Like, one thing I just adore. Um, Sorry, what was I saying? One thing I just adore Grover in general, but the fact that he's a Percabeth shipper as well makes me so incredibly happy. Um, yeah, it was just really cute, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite Percabeth quotes in this entire book. And do you know what? I was also thinking about the fact that I know that Annabeth and Percy would make great parents. Like, I genuinely think that, and I hope that Rick makes it happen one day, please. I want to see it. Maybe not now, maybe not in 5 years, but in 10 years to come, when I'm still here hanging around, hopefully. um I hope you guys are still with me then as well. Yeah, I do want to see that someday. Rick, please make it happen. Please make it happen. I just want to know they got their happy ending. Once I've read that they've got their happy ending, I'll be done with it. I'll be like, yeah, okay. um I like this quote as well, which was another one that I picked, which was, "Good job, hero." She said, "I'm not even going to ask why you have a bikini bottom wrapped around your ankle." She's serious. I can't. But like, I love that she gives him a compliment, like by calling him a hero. But then almost immediately she brings him back down to earth, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not even gonna ask why you've got a bikini bottom wrapped around your ankle." Like, she's so funny. I love her. And do you know what? Another thing I've noticed, I don't know if it's just me or if anybody else has picked this up at all, but Annabeth seems a lot lighter in these books. Like, I think she kind of went through hell and back in Heroes of Olympus, which is what we're going to be talking about from next week. Um, and I think that now she just seems like she's finally calmed down, or like she's made peace. Like, yeah, so what was I saying? I was talking about, yeah, I feel like she's changed a lot. Like, particularly in this book, like, I noticed, like, she's more calm and collected now. Like, I don't feel like she worries as much. Like, I think she's got this assurance, which is like, Percy isn't going anywhere. Because I think in the first 5 books, like, it really bothered her the fact that Percy would be the child from the prophecy and he would die. Like, I think that was in the back of her mind all the time. And then also in Heroes of Olympus, where she just lost him and she didn't know where he was. He had his memory wiped. Like, she didn't see him for the longest time. Like, she didn't know whether he was alive, whether he was okay. And I think that tension, you can feel it. Like, when I talk about Heroes of Olympus, we'll talk a bit more about that. But now I feel like she's a lot lighter. Like, now she's got that assurance that Grover's not going anywhere, Percy's not going anywhere. Like, their friends are all somewhat safe. Like, she has a bit more of a ground to stand on now, like a more solid foundation to stand on now. And yeah, I'm just really proud of like how much she's grown like in these books as well. Like I remember like that little 12-year-old girl that like I met in those books all those years ago, and now like she's like grown up now and she's like applying for college and stuff. It's just amazing, and it's quite obvious that she's my favorite character as well. Um, in case you guys didn't know, I'll let you know she is my favorite, and I think her journey and her personal growth has a lot to do with Percy, and I'm like forever grateful to him for coming into her life and changing her completely. And I know for a fact that she'll be nothing like her actual parents. Like she genuinely will be a great mom. And yeah, it just makes me excited. That's what I'm saying. Sorry, went on a bit of an Annabeth tangent. That wasn't what I was supposed to be talking about. I was supposed to be talking about Percabeth, but never mind. Um, the next quote is, I remembered the way she looked in her elegant dress with her coiffed hair and perfect makeup. I'd been a guinea pig at the time, but my little guinea pig jaw hit the floor. Oh, he remembers that. Like, I remember when Cersei did her all up, and the way that Rick describes it, honestly, is just amazing. I can't wait to see, like, in season 2 of Percy Jackson next year. Like, I can't wait to see Leah, like, all dressed up. Um, I just love how obsessed he is with her. Like he's such a hype man. Like he just he just loves her so much, and that just makes me so happy. I'm gonna sneeze 1 second. Sorry, didn't want that on the recording. I don't think you guys want to hear that. But yeah, it was just like I don't know. Like I love the little Sea of Monsters references. Like one thing I loved a lot more about this book is that there were so many references to the first 5 books, and I remember that moment like clear as day from Sea of Monsters. Like it is one of my favorite Percabeth moments, and like I just don't think that he could be any more perfect. Like I know why so many women have fallen in love with Percy. That Riz is just something else. Like I'll give you that. But yeah, I loved that little like nod towards Sea Monsters, and I can imagine that Annabeth looked absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to see that moment in season 2. Like it is one of like my most anticipated Percabeth moments, like that scene where Cersei dresses her up, but also Siren Bay. Like those are the 2 scenes that I'm waiting for, and I can't wait. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to like be talking about it on the podcast as well. Like as soon as I watch the episode, I'm gonna be watching it again and taking notes because like yeah, anyway, sorry. But yeah, that quote was really. I think if you've been reading Percy Jackson for a long time, I think that quote would have really stuck with you because you've been like, oh yeah, I remember that. I think I read Wrath of the Triple Goddess first, and then I went back to the first 5 books. So like now that I'm on Last Olympian at the minute, I'm not getting very far because every day I've been running out of time to read. But yeah, it was nice to like come to this book and then go back to the first 5. Like you see how much everybody's really grown up, and especially how different the Percabeth relationships obviously is in these books as opposed to the first 5. But yeah, oh, they're so cute. I love them. Right, the next quote, which is, she looked incredible, but you didn't have to take my word for it. He is just too cute, guys. I cannot. Like, everybody needs a Percy hype man because honestly, if your partner doesn't hype you up like that, then they ain't worthy, mate. Because Percy is always like I keep saying it, he knows that he scored the lottery with her. Like he hit the jackpot with her. And like now he's like he's so proud of the fact that she's his partner. I love it. Just think it's really cute. And I think the quote that came slightly further down the page, which is the spot, this next one that we'll be talking about, which is the only one who got any stares was Annabeth, and the people checking her out were lucky I didn't poke them with my fake trident. Oh, what? I love how protective he is over her. And I love that he gets jealous because jealousy is a normal feeling, like especially when you care about someone. And it's nice to see that like even though Percy is a demigod, he still has these very human emotions, like especially when it comes to Annabeth. I feel like she's the more human side of him, which I love. And I love that he just protects her with everything. Like he knows how special she really is, and he knows that he's never gonna let her go no matter what. And I just think it's really cute. And I love it. And I love him. And I love her. And I just love their relationship. The next quote is I didn't like the idea of my girlfriend having to live the rest of her life with the head of a bird. I mean, yes, I was pretty nocturnal. You could make it work. Do you know what? That quote made me laugh because I was like, it's so funny, like, to think about it because he would rather spend his life with Annabeth having a the head of a bird than with any other girl. Like honestly, his loyalty is just something else. And you know, like yeah, I love that he's been thinking about it. He's like, oh, so if I can't change her back, I'm pretty nocturnal anyway, so we'll find a way for it to work. Like I think that's so funny that he's willing to like compromise, but as long as he can stay with her, that's all that matters. Guys, Rick is just destroying me with this. Like I read these quotes and I'm just like, I don't know how he does it. Like he manages to melt my heart every single time, and I just don't get it. And honestly, if there was ever an award for the most perfect man, like I would give it to Percy without hesitation. Like I'm just like, I love that guy. Like I can see why younger Am had such a big crush on him, because like I look back to when I was a kid and I when I first started reading these books, and I had a little bit of a crush on Percy. I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, and like now, older and reading it after a few having a break from it for a few years and coming back to it, like I understand why those feelings were there. Like, yeah, he's just a perfect guy. Like there's just no knocking him. He's just great. And yeah. I don't know. I think the way that he treats a woman is very like not just Annabeth, but like all the women in his life, he treats them with such respect and with such care and such love that he's a really respectable guy, and I just love him. Anyway, I'm gonna stop saying that because you guys are probably like sick of me saying this. The next quote again was a nod to sort of Heroes of Olympus and the first five books, particularly Titan's Curse, which was I figured that after holding the weight of the sky and trekking through Tartarus together, the two of us were as in sync as any couple could be. He's just spitting facts at this point. Like I don't believe like there's anything that they can't achieve like if they're together. And like he said, like they've been through these situations that are bigger than life, and they've come out of it stronger than ever, but it's mostly because they had each other. Like when we come to talking about House of Hades together, which is just insane. Like I think I'm gonna have more episodes on House of Hades than any other Heroes of Olympus book, because there is so much that goes down in that book. I forgot how incredible that book is. And like seeing Percy and Annabeth literally walking through hell was so hard for me, because I was just like, my poor babies, like what is Rick doing them, like what's he doing to them? Like honestly, like, I cried pretty much towards the end of the book. I definitely cried loads because I was just like, my poor babies, like, like what's going on? But you know what, Rick has just put them in this situation where he wants to show people how strong their love actually is, and that's what like by putting them in these situations that obviously we as people can't comprehend, you can really see why the foundation of their relationship is so strong, and why they're just perfect together, and why they're just destined to be. And like I always say this, I've said this definitely multiple times on the podcast, which was if there was ever such thing as like a perfect couple, Percy and Annabeth would just be the definition of it. Like if you want to be with someone, you got to have a relationship like that, is all I'm saying. Right. Last few quotes that I'm going to be talking about is this one is fortunately there was Annabeth. The sentence describes a lot of my life actually. Right. Now that sentence is so simple. There's no um what's the word I'm looking for? I forgot what the word was. This is going to annoy me now. It's not decorative. Like it doesn't, do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have it's just simple. Like what he said there is very very simple. But what he said there was so powerful. Like he looks at his life, like he's in these situations, but then he looks behind him and is Annabeth. And he's so grateful that she is there. And I think I just I appreciate how aware he is and how grateful he is for her presence. And you know what? I'll be honest with you guys. Like, I'm not a romantic person. Hard to believe, considering like how invested I am in Percy and Annabeth's relationship. I don't believe in soulmates. Like, I never have. I just thought that that's something that people write on a page of a book. But I looked at Percabeth, and I just don't think that they could be anything but soulmates. Like, that's genuinely what I believe. And like, as I was thinking about this, like when I was reading the first five books, like this infatuation that she had with Luke and things. Like I kind of understand where it came from. But when Percy came into her life, the way that he changed her and the woman that she became because of him is just something else. And it's something so admirable as well. Um, yeah, like I said, like I love Annabeth, and I definitely like give a lot of the credit to Percy for the woman that he made because she was a complete mess before she met him. I think Rick made them meet at the right time. Right place, right time, right person. I think that's exactly what happened. And you know that whole thing where it's like, oh, she fell first, but he fell harder. I think that's just Percy and Annabeth summed up, really. Um, anyway, the next quote, which is one of the last four quotes I'm going to be talking about, is Hey, wise girl, I said, trying to keep the panic out of my voice. Be wise. I don't know much, but I know that we are stronger together. Always. You know what? I did cry. I'll be honest. Like when I read that in the book for the first time, I cried, and I've got no shame in admitting it because it just literally melted my heart. Like whenever Annabeth has a moment of doubt, Percy is always there to pick her up and reassure her that everything is okay. Even though internally he might be panicking, he might be worried, he'll never ever let her feel it. He'll always be there to shield her from that. And he's right. Like maybe he doesn't know much. Like he knows that, but all he knows is that when him and Annabeth are together, they're honestly like a force to be reckoned with. And like I keep saying, that there's nothing that they couldn't do without each other. Wait, what? What I meant is there's nothing they can't do as long as they're together. That's what I meant, sorry. And I am going to be sending Rick my therapy bill over the years for literally killing me with Percabeth because they're just too cute. Although I'm not mad about it. Like I honestly love the fact that he can melt me like that. Not I've never read any other author that like makes me as emotional as Rick does when I read his writing. So yeah, I love you, Rick. Thank you for torturing me. Um, but yeah, that quote again is probably one of my favorites in the whole book. Like it's just perfect, and the timing that it comes at in the book is great as well. um, right, the third to last quote that we'll be talking about is this one, which I've just like skimmed over it just now, and I'm feeling a little bit choked, but I'm going to try and get through it. So it is Annabeth and I were more than just two people. We were a pair. And when we stood at crossroads, we did it together. Oh my god. Uh oh. Uh oh. Emotional. You're becoming emotional. This is, yeah. I definitely talked a lot about this quote when I reviewed the last half of the book. But he's right. Like, oh my god. I'm so happy you guys can't see me right now. I've got literally tears welling up in my eyes. Um, I genuinely don't know what to say. Like, I'm honestly like gobsmacked. Like, even reading that, like afterwards, like it still has a hold on me that I can't explain. And like Percy said, yeah, he's right. They were more than just two people in a relationship. Like, they're a pair. And every decision that they stood at, every difficulty they've faced, every crossroad that they've stood at, they've done it together. And it was just, it was one of those moments where, like, I sort of had to close the book and just look at it and be like, yeah, actually, if we think about it, pretty much through every difficulty, apart from when Percy lost his memory and stuff, Annabeth has been there. And the fact that he really believes in their relationship, and no matter what they do, as long as they do it together, like they're willing to take anything that comes their way, it just so speechless. I really don't know what to say. I think I talked a lot about that quote when I reviewed that part of the book. So you guys will probably have to go there to hear more of a commentary on that. But I just, yeah, I believe that in their love, and I believe that in the fact that they can conquer anything as long as they have each other. And like I said, I did cry when I read that in the book. I've shed a couple of tears just now, re reading that quote. But yeah, that is one of my favorite quotes, and I really want to get that quote framed because I love it. I do have a quote from Last Olympian that's framed in my bedroom. But I'm starting to think I need to frame that quote because it is one of my favorites. Uh, wow. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all emotional on you guys. But this is what I mean. Like, I feel it even now, just rereading that quote. Like, I'm not reading any of the context behind the quote. Like, I'm not physically opening the book and reading it. I'm literally just taking the quote that I've made a note of, and it makes me feel like that. So you guys can obviously imagine how I must feel when I'm physically reading it. Do you know what? Somebody was like, "Why don't you set up a camera like while you're reading and like just to see what your facial expressions are like?" I'm like, I wouldn't want to know what my face looks like because especially when I'm crying my eyes out, like I don't think anybody really needs to see that. Anyway, the second to last quote that we're going to be talking about is towards the end of the book, which is, "We sat in silence. It was nice to be able to do that with Annabeth. We never felt the need to be witty or cool with each other. We could just be ourselves." Now, I talked about this book teaching us so many lessons, but one of the main lessons that I took away from this book regarding relationships was that when you are with your partner, you should never be anything but your authentic self. Like, you should never feel ashamed of who you are, um, what you've been through, blah, blah, blah. You should always be happy with who you are. And that person should be accepting of you no matter how you are. And I just love that quote. And I this book had so many great lessons, not just relationship lessons, but life lessons as well. And there is no better way to teach us a lesson like that than to use Percy and Annabeth. So yeah, Rick is he's just a genius. Like I just don't know how he does it. Like every single book is banging. Like there isn't like I'm still reading the first five books, but I still like even though I know like what's gonna happen, like every time I read it, I pick something new up, like or I see something that I haven't seen before, and I'm like, oh, when was that in there? And I genuinely get just as excited as I did when I was a kid. Like it still has that impact on me. And yeah, I'm trying to get more people into reading it because I'm like, you have to read it. Like it will destroy you, but you'll love it. Yeah. Okay. Last quote from this book that I absolutely love. I don't have the specific quote, but I am just gonna say that I didn't pull the quote because Percy sort of asks what's for dessert, and Annabeth just kisses him, and I think like I'm thinking like when I read it, I was like, what? I was like, I forget how grown up they are now, so I'm still looking at them as like babies. So when I read quotes like that, I'm like, whoa, what just happened? But I think what Rick's trying to do is he's trying to make the book mature with the audience, which I understand. But I read it and I was like blushing because I was like, whoa. I was like, I never expected Annabeth to be able to do anything like that. And because they were all sat at a family dinner and she did, I think that made me feel a bit more like, well, okay. Well, she's bold. She's not ashamed to hide that she loves him and he loves her. So I guess that's all that really matters. But yeah, I loved that moment. It really made me laugh. I've seen so many like TikTok edits and like reels on Instagram where people are like, oh, wasn't expecting that. And I was like, yeah, neither was I, but I love them. Right, let's round this all up then. Come to my final thoughts and feelings. Oh my gosh, those Percabeth moments did not disappoint. I'll be honest with you guys, like I was a little worried. I was a little hesitant because I read Chalice of the Gods and there were so many incredible Percabeth moments. And I was like, I just don't know how Rick is going to be able to top that. Obviously, I was wrong and I'm very happy that I was wrong about this. And he did it and it was amazing. And all the quotes in this book were equally, if not better, than the ones in Chalice of the Gods. So that says something about Rick as an author. He's still got it, guys. He still has the magic of Percy Jackson even 20 years later. Just saying. Also, I wanted to make a quick say, are you guys proud of me because I didn't cheat this time? Because last time with Chalice of the Gods, I kind of cheated because I used all the quotes in the book. But that was just because they were all so good. Like, I just couldn't narrow it down. But this time I did it. And I'm really happy with the selection that I made, and I hope you guys are happy as well. Although I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it did take me forever to narrow it down because I was just like, I really like that quote, but do I like it as much as this one? And I honestly don't know how many quotes I've just picked in there, but yeah, that was the best I could do. That's as much as I could narrow it down. So I hope you guys can forgive me for that. Like I said, still standing by my statement, Percabeth is the greatest love story of all time, and nothing can change my mind. Um, Even after everything that they've been through, like it's not changed either of them, and they still love each other just as much as they did all those years ago. And I truly believe that there is no couple more worthy than them that deserves a happy ending, and I hope that Rick brings that ending one day. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Rick I love you so much. Thank you for giving me my favorite fictional couple ever. Thank you for giving them so many incredible moments that I will always remember and treasure. And I'm so happy that I now have a platform to be able to share them with other people. And I hope the magic of Percy Jackson continues in years to come. Um, and yeah, I'm really happy. I'm chuffed, I'm happy, I'm excited for the next adventure. I wonder where Rick is going to take us next. Hopefully, a book next year. I'm hoping. I'll be really excited. But I'm really, really hoping that I'll get a book next year. Or maybe the year after. I don't know. I guess we're getting Percy Jackson season 2 next year, so I can't really complain. But I would love to see where our trio goes next and if they get their final recommendation letter. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening in. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I got a little bit emotional. I did warn you guys at the beginning that sometimes that does happen. But yeah, I hope that you are happy with the selection of Percabeth moments that I made. I am, and yeah, for any fellow Percabeth shippers out there, DM me any questions. Um, or email me depending on what you prefer. I would love to talk about them too more. Thank you so much for listening in. I really appreciate it. I'm so sorry I talk so much in between. But if you've been listening to my episodes, you probably know that by now that I ramble. But yeah, it's only because I'm genuinely passionate about it. That's why I ramble. Um, don't forget, all episodes are available to stream on my Spotify and on my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel whilst you're there. It'd be greatly appreciated. My entire review of Wrath of the Triple Goddess is up now. So you can hear my thoughts and feelings. There's 8 parts to it on each of the chapters. I think I did 5 or 6 chapters in each part. So yeah, if you want to get a more of a closer insight into my real thoughts about the book, recommend listening into those. Yeah, so next week we are going to be moving on to Heroes of Olympus, and we're starting with Lost Hero. They'll I think that will take the next 2 months now because I think there's 7 or 8 parts. So we'll be talking about that book in great detail. And then we're going to move on to the rest of the books in the series. But I really hope you guys are enjoying the content. There's also not that long till Christmas and the end of this year. So um, when I eventually get my holiday from uni, there might be more uploads going on. We'll see. We'll see closer to the time. I'll let you guys know on social media. Follow me on Threads, follow me on Instagram. Both are at Aamsuntitledpodcast, and I will be speaking to you guys very soon. Mwah. Bye, guys.